step in the right direction.
What's up, everybody? We're back again with Gen Z Reviews, episode 21. My gosh, that is so crazy. Every time we're one more, it's just so cool to hear that we're that far. But hey, everybody, thanks for joining us here today. I have the pleasure of being joined by my co-host, Gally Ardo, Kyle Corwith, a familiar friend of the channel, and another friend of the channel, Gen X Man, who climbed down from his ivory tower to be with us here today again. So first off, how we doing, guys? How we feeling?
Great.
Feeling good?
As
I'm
always.
ready to rock and roll, but I'm a little trepidatious about what you guys thought of this.
Oh, gosh. Yeah,
this has been a long time coming, man.
Is that cigar in honor of the movie that we're going to talk about, or do you just often smoke these things?
Well, I do smoke cigars, but tonight is brought out, in this instance, for this occasion, for Godfather 3. It's Godfather 3 Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just released my
this needs to
video.
be marked on the calendar, Godfather 3 Day, for the world to celebrate.
To work out that way.
And to recall our two segments, Kyle, exactly. I don't think you've smoked with us before, have you? Like on the
Thirsty
stream?
Thursday.
Okay.
I have once before.
Wow. Okay, so this is special. I like where this is going. I know Kyle definitely has a unique take. That's for sure. Unique. And he might be surprised by ours because, of course, if you're not familiar with Godfather 3, it's, pretty much everybody says that this is the worst in the series of the three films, and that it does a lot of things that just pissed so many people off. And I can understand a lot of that. But, I think we're all coming in with pretty interesting perspectives here. So I'm definitely excited to get into it because I think we're all a little different here. And, this was our first time watching Godfather Part 3. I think, Kyle, you've been with us since the beginning, talking about 1, 2, and 3, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, that's good. Correct. That's sad. This is the end of the line, man. This is the end of the Godfather story. And, at the end of the day, I'm glad you convinced us to watch the third one, to finish the story. Because I was worried, all the negative publicity about this film really turned me off. And I wasn't sure I wanted to even finish the story. So I thank you, man, for getting us to watch the last film.
So without me, you wouldn't have finished the trilogy?
No.
Just based off of
not a chance.
The zeitgeist and the osmosis of pop culture, etc.
You inspired us.
I think so. I was just so worried because I did really enjoy the first two, not the second one as much, but I respected where it was going. And I was really afraid that this was going to screw everything up. And we'll get into our, deeper thoughts pretty soon. But before we do, if you don't mind giving us a quick recap of the first two films, because something that's so great about Godfather and about Francis Ford Coppola with these movies is, it's like, there's not many experiences where you're watching a movie and you feel like it's the equivalent of reading a deep novel. That's how I feel watching these. And these are not films you could just casually watch. There's no earth where you could just sit there and have this on in the background, especially for the first time viewing. You just have to be laser focused 24/7 to really understand what's going on here. And I think that is very intriguing. It's needed, but at the same time, when it comes to watching a movie, it's kind of exhausting, but it's good to challenge ourselves. Nevertheless, Kyle, give us a quick recap if you don't mind.
Sure. And these movies are not like Lord of the Rings where it's one story. I think these movies are the kinds of movies that you watch incrementally over a period of time. So the recap for Part 1, Godfather Part 1, which is based on Mario Puzo's best-selling novel from 1969, that focuses on the powerful Italian-American crime family of patriarch Don Vito Corleone, played by Marlon Brando, legend. When the Don's youngest son, Michael, played by Al Pacino, reluctantly joins the mafia in order to protect his father, Michael becomes involved in the ongoing cycle of violence and betrayal. Although Michael tries to start a new life in Sicily after defending his father's life, his lovely and innocent wife, Apollonia, is murdered, which brings Michael back to New York to assume the mantle of the Don, drawing him deeper into the family business. That's Part 1. Godfather Part 2 is the story that juxtaposes the life of Vito Corleone, the father of Michael, which takes place during 1958 for Michael's storyline, while he navigates machinations involving an assassination attempt on his life. While Vito's story in the early 1900s is that of him being a young immigrant, played by Robert De Niro, in Hell's Kitchen, where Vito is reluctantly introduced to a life of crime, but finds he's quite adept at it. Godfather Part 2 concludes with Michael having made a very dark decision that he cannot come back from. This leaves the door open for the unexpected, operatic, and tragic arc Michael experiences in The Godfather Part 3.
Nice. Beautiful,
Cheers.
Kyle. Round of applause.
Well
round
said.
of applause. Beautiful, man. Thanks for setting
said.
that up. I think we were just talking backstage about how it's amazing that you can condense a film that's literally over 3 hours long into a 30-second summary. It's just amazing how that works. So, job well done. There's a
Thank
lot.
you. I don't know if that was
Jesus,
30 seconds, though.
Whatever.
Might-
It was
might have
quick.
been a
It was
minute.
just about.
Quickie chicky. It wasn't bad, but
timing
I
it.
know I would have a hard time with that because it's so difficult not to just get deep right into the content because there's just so much to chew on here. And quick question for you, Kyle, because I think Gen X Man and Galliardo, we all probably watched the same version. We watched Godfather Coda. Is that what have you seen that cut of this? Because we couldn't even access Godfather 3. We were looking on Amazon and on the other streaming services, and we couldn't just find the normal version. It was so weird.
It is weird. None of you have seen my video that I released at 5 p.m. Central Time, right? You haven't
Not
seen
yet.
it?
No, we will.
I was getting to it.
Okay, so I go over in detail the differences between the Coda cut, which in full title is called The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Coppola wanted to release Godfather 3 with that title.
Mm-hmm.
The studio they didn't want that. In 2020, during the obvious, in which everything was shut down, people had some spare time, and a few directors did their new cuts of movies. Yeah, Sly Stallone did Rocky 4, I
His
believe.
was so much better too.
Yeah, I've got to see that. Francis Ford Coppola did a recut of Godfather 3. Now, without getting into detail, because you can see that in my video, okay?
That's right.
So I'm going to leave those details in there for you to check them out, okay? But I will tell you that I think you watched an inferior version of the movie.
Whoa, what? Dang.
Yes.
You think it's worse?
Not necessarily worse. I think it just takes a couple steps back where it didn't need to. When it could have, it was good where it was standing in terms of whatever metaphor you want to use on the line or the podium, blah, blah, blah. The finish line, the start line, yada, yada. It was, they actually cut some scenes out.
Oh, wow.
They're not adding scenes back in.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Huh. Did they cut out the titillating romance between Vincent and Mary? Did they cut more of that out? I need more.
No, I don't think it.
I long for it.
Everything's in there. Everything's the same.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if he chopped a lot of that out. I can't wait to talk about that. We're gonna show a clip. We're gonna show a
you
clip.
got
of that.
clips?
I have one clip that I want to use.
Okay.
Yeah, we're testing it out, and it's probably gonna have to get cut.
Cool.
But we're trying to figure that out. But yeah, thank you, Kyle, for the great summary.
Yeah.
Godfather 3. Let me pull up the poster here real quick. Because this is, such a unique chapter in this story. And I'm excited to talk about what happens between Godfather 2 and 3. We're going to get into that soon. Because, this is a 20-year gap, everyone. That's so long. And it's funny seeing Al Pacino. He's pretty old here, but, he's really, I guess he was kind of doctored up to look older.
Correct.
And he wasn't
They
actually
aged him
that
up.
much older. Yeah. So I thought this came out in the early 2000s, but I think somebody said it came out in 1990 today
1990, yes.
at the movie night. So that's weird. That's some Mandela effect there because I
This
feel like I've seen that a
December-
million times.
This December is going to be the 35th anniversary.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
That's insane for this movie, Godfather Part 3.
Yes.
Yep.
Jeez. That is so weird. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, even though I wasn't born even near that time, but it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. But, when we're talking about Godfather Part 3, like I said, there's a lot that happens in between both of these movies. We're pretty much, one of the biggest changes is that Michael Corleone is a totally different guy at this point. We're going to kind of compare and contrast his character with Vito Corleone as well, because I think both characters are put in a similar situation here. They're the older mentor to a younger hotshot interested in wanting to get involved with the business, and at this point in time, this is sort of like a tale of redemption for Michael Corleone. He's dealing with so much trauma from the decisions he made as a younger man, and like you said, Kyle, at the end of Godfather 2, we see him pretty much at his lowest point, where he just unleashes the evil within himself. I mean, he kills Fredo. He has this terrible mass murder plot enacted, and he really just goes full on dark evil mode. And in here, it's like he's totally changed. He's wised up, and he's way more peaceful. He's a much more peaceful guy. He's way more interested in kind of the respect value, and he's no longer connected to any of the crime syndicate, crime business like he used to be. I mean, that was a big fruit of his looms, and here he's trying to strain up the ship, and he wants to pass it on to his daughter, because this is no longer an illegal trade. He's been building up this foundation, and it's more of like a charitable foundation to some effect. And this is where we find the entrance of Mary Corleone, who is going to definitely be a hot topic of conversation today, because she is widely acclaimed as one of the most damning effects of this film, which I think most people can definitely agree on, especially because it's Francis Ford Coppola's daughter that was cast as this is very important character, and unfortunately she botches it pretty hard. But in the very beginning of the film, we see Michael Corleone invest in the Vatican, which is a very strange investment. He gives them, gosh, what was it? I think he promised, or he made a deal with the bishop for like $600 million. Yes. And in return, he was going to gain all of the stake in this immobiliary. Is that correct, Kyle?
It's close enough approximation to the pronunciation. Immobiliare.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Italian, yes. But while this goes on throughout the film, this agreement is, it kind of tatters itself out, and there's a lot of holes to this that you didn't really think would be expected of, the Vatican, right? They upstanding character is definitely put to the test with some of these bishops, unfortunately, and a lot of trouble surmounts because of this agreement, unfortunately. But while this is going on, a strange member of the Corleone family, or distant member of the Corleone family, Vincent, kind of plugs himself back into Michael's life, and he is just absolutely gosh, there's so much to say about his character, because he's really one of the greatest annoyances in this film altogether. And he's kind of, like Sonny, his brother, he's a tough troublemaker, and he's always butting heads with people. But this guy, he takes it to just such an immature level that's really difficult to watch. But what happens here is Michael, he puts him under his wing, and he's sort of grooming him to take his place in the future. And while this is going on, a weirder situation begins to surmount, where Vincent starts to become attracted to his cousin, Mary. Ooh,
First cousin.
Yeah, it's not very distant. They're pretty closely related. That is really one of the more horrifying segments of this whole film, which we get a decent amount of, and we're going to also break that down and talk about that a little bit, because that's definitely one of the more intriguing moments here. But pretty much the ship is sailing itself, and Michael, he's interested in kind of pulling out of the business. He's getting kind of sick of the games, and he gets to a point in the story where he runs into this other bishop, or this man who is going to be the Pope, who's elected to be the Pope later on. And he kind of converts a little bit. He converts back to the Catholic that he's supposed to be. And he reconciles with himself. He repents. And we see a Michael that kind of gives himself to the Lord. And he's no longer interested in any immoral dealings at all, which we're going to also dive deeper into later. There's just so many pieces here to dissect. But while this happens, not long before this, and what continues to bother him throughout the rest of the movie is he has a lot of health problems. And, sometimes he's out for the count and Vincent has to step up and take his place. And you watch a lot of trouble ensue with that, and more drama further conflicts the life and the well-being of the Corleone family. So we follow Vincent, his uprising here. We see him, try to take on the mantle as Don Corleone. And it's an interesting segment, and a lot more comes from that we're going to get to. But before we get into that, I was just wondering from you guys, how do you feel about the new characters that we've gotten? Because we are given a lot of like little supporting characters that don't really do much throughout the whole movie. But I think there's two characters we definitely need to talk about. And these are the two most consequential characters in the entire film that are new. Of course, I think we should start with Vincent Corleone here, because he's trouble throughout the whole movie. So he's the son of Sonny Corleone, just like his dad. He's a high-headed troublemaker, and he's kind of, he's made a lot of mistakes in his life. He's really pretty stupid. He's a ladies' man, and he's just interested in causing a lot of trouble. And he, quite a few times he leads the Corleone family down a pretty dark path, especially, with his dealings with Joey Zaza, which I believe was a pretty underwhelming conflict throughout the movie. But how do you guys feel about his character?
I'm going to be honest. He was like the bad boy of the movie, like with like the daughter of Michael. It really surprised me how, like, I know he was upset about how okay Michael Corleone was with knowing about the relationship that they had. Like, he wasn't like, threatening him necessarily, but
that's true.
At the same time, like, I enjoyed how he was almost like Michael Corleone's like right-hand man, or like, like you said, that when Michael was ill, he kind of stepped in on the spotlight. But I'm just still fairly disturbed of the scenarios that went down between his first cousin. I like to point out and ask, I'm gonna hand this to Kyle now. You made a face when Jackson mentioned Mary Corleone, about how she I like to ask.
Oh no, he's probably wait. Hold your thoughts on Mary.
Yeah, you're right.
Hold your thoughts on Mary. We're about to talk about Mary.
That's my take on Vincent though.
Okay.
That's all I got. It's short and simple. I just admired how he had Michael's trust, but still, went down the darker path at times. Yeah,
that's really good. What about you, Kyle?
I'm actually kind of excited or anticipating to hear Gen X-Men's take on anything. I haven't heard from him at all through this. It's been 20 minutes now. And
sorry,
what's going on
out of my
there,
ass this whole time, man.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was building a ship in a bottle.
Right? Have you seen this movie before? And if
no,
not,
I had not.
Okay,
so
yeah.
So okay, so you asked specifically my thoughts on this character,
on Vincent, yeah.
Well, the actor, and I was just trying to look up his name because I'd forgotten it. He had been in many things since this movie came out. He quickly rose to fame, and I hadn't seen this movie, and I guess I really should have, because this is probably what really launched his career. The character, I thought he was just like all the other wise guys that you saw in the first couple of movies, and it was almost like Al Pacino's character was just looking for a copycat of his brothers or himself, or just like one of the people he had grown up with. And so I was kind of surprised early on that he sort of took him under his wing. I didn't see that coming, but then once you sort of saw his antics, it's like, all right, he's one of the guys. He's sort of cut from the same cloth, if you will. I mean, he's not only relative, but he has certain personality traits that the Corleones seem to like.
Yeah, that was confusing. Like, it really, I feel like Michael Corleone pretty much just put him under his wing, almost out of desperation, because it didn't seem like there was any front runners. It really made no sense why he entered in the Corleone family. There was nothing good going for him. Nothing. He was hot-headed like Sonny was, but he was way more dumb. And he made more mistakes, really.
He's not dumb. Hot-headed doesn't mean someone's dumb. It just means they're impulsive.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe...
Two guys come and try to kill him. He handles himself
I
pretty
think you have to be
much
dumb to pursue your cousin, bro. I think you got to be dumb to do that.
All right. So here's the thing that I'll get into, which is in the video that I just now available on my channel. That stuff happening. Francis Ford Coppola himself said in the commentary that stuff happened in the Italian lineage so many times, prevalently. And
That's
there's another detail that I mention about an account of somebody that I knew who was was born in the early 1900s, and she said she gave me her perspective on stuff related to that. So I'll tease that I get into a little story in the video, but I do want to say that Coppola himself admitted in his own lineage there is incest. And
in his own lineage?
Well, yeah, he's Italian.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's funny. Oh, good.
That it's like a generational thing. And the thing that I argue is that the movie is not trying to make it seem like this is a love affair to aspire to.
That's true.
People get the wrong impression about it. This is a story about characters in a dysfunctional situation in a crime family, and it's a tragedy.
That's true. Well, I mean, I there was no point in time where I was watching this and I felt like it was trying to sell me on the idea. I did not get that feeling at all.
Right.
I don't think they were. I think what was interesting was that the whole time, the only person that actually rose their voice about it was Michael. I don't think anyone else really said it. The son mentioned it once. And then that's all I heard from it.
And that's strange. That's one criticism that I can put towards the movie is Michael himself doesn't make enough of a deal about the situation, even though he's speaking up about it. But I think he could have been louder, literally in a scene. I think he could have done that.
Well, what Luke demonstrated and reminded us was that he didn't threaten him or anything. I mean, this wasn't.
Well, that would be a little extreme, threatening him, but you know what I mean.
It's pretty I can't believe he held him so close to his chest after he was still going out with his daughter.
I mean, let alone being cousins. I mean, put aside that they're cousins. Pretend. I mean, it's still a dude who goes down the wrong path. I mean, but it kind of adds to the thing that they're cousins.
Well, okay, let's think about this in context from what I just said a moment ago. You have the lineage of people, the Italians, and it's not just Italians, and you'll see why in my video. But in the Italian lineage, it's known within the families that this happens. Okay. And there's the update of this is modern times. You don't do this. And Michael and the family, they know that, but they also are aware of this shit has happened for generations, right? That's why they don't make that much of a big deal about it. But they're adjusting to the times by Michael saying, what are you doing?
Okay.
We got to stop this.
They're so progressive.
When the Corleone, Michael Corleone
was that like I'm grossed out?
No, he said on several occasions, "It's dangerous. It's dangerous."
Yes.
So
that was
I got
weird.
on my friendly neighborhood chatbot and asked him, "Well, just how dangerous is it? What's the likelihood of birth defects or something like that can result when first cousins have kids. And it turns out the odds are doubled that you will, you
Wow.
know, have a child with, we'll say, special needs. But in absolute terms, the normal rate would be about 3%, and it jumps up to about 6%. So the danger is not as great as one might think. And I, you know, given that note, and you know, I don't know if the Corleones really knew this sort of math or stats that were thrown out here, but maybe he meant it in some other way. Maybe he
Yeah.
meant there was some other dangerous aspect to all of this that just wasn't fully fleshed out. And if you'd read the book, you would understand better.
And that's a very good point. And it could be also mean that he was talking about with Vincent eventually in line to become the Don, that if Mary became his wife, then she's going to be in a vulnerable spot.
Oh, that's
okay.
true.
She'd be in the line of fire.
Yeah.
Gosh, what a weird connection.
Go back to part 2. Kay was in danger. He had to isolate her and the family. There you
That's
go.
true. So, Kyle, how'd you feel about Vincent's character, though, as a whole?
Someone said in a podcast that I listened to the other day, because I'm still listening to other people talk about this movie, because it's fascinating. Someone said that Vincent doesn't have a character arc, and I call bullshit on that. He does have a character arc. He literally walks into the office, Michael's office, and is yelling at Zaza. He's screaming at him, and he's like grabbing his balls and all that stuff. He's taunting him, bites his ear. By the time the end of the movie comes, he's acting like Michael in Godfather Part 2. He's calm as fuck.
That's true.
He is measured. He is collected.
And
you know?
he has his hair slicked back.
Yeah, that was
These
quick.
things are not an accident. I don't know what that person was thinking or smoking. They weren't smoking this. I guarantee you. It wasn't a cigar. It was
a little
something
something
else.
stronger.
So that's not true, and it's incorrect that Vincent doesn't have a character arc. He absolutely does. He's mentored by Michael, and he becomes a leader instead of a kind of a junkyard dog, one could say. Yeah.
Were you not annoyed by him throughout the movie? Did he
No.
not? Was he not a disturbance to you?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow.
But
I don't know
he really entered the movie like a junkyard dog. Like that's
Mm.
why it was such a surprise, at least to me, that Michael Corleone took an interest in him.
Well, this is the thing is, I mean, a lot of families are like this. They keep their family members in and then bring them closer when in an ordinary unblood related situation, they would just ostracize that person. But because someone's blood related, they give them more of a chance.
That's true. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, way more empathetic.
More
I don't
mercy,
know. I think,
etc.
yeah, I think, calling him a junkyard dog is perfect. And I think, I didn't.
I mean, he doesn't look like that. He's a handsome,
very
he's a
handsome
guy.
man.
Yeah, handsome guy.
But I don't know. See, Sonny, I loved Sonny, and I would not consider him a junkyard dog. I consider him more of just like a stout brawler himself. But this, I didn't like this. I didn't like.
He's
Shut up.
moniker.
Literally, come
That's
on,
in your
bro.
name.
Yeah. Well, that's literally what he is. See, that's what I didn't like about him, was he was a junkyard dog. I thought the whole time, I think it had to do with his delivery as well. I just thought, he kind of rubbed against the grain of what I expect with Godfather. Like both of the films. We haven't really had a character like him, especially on, like in the Corleone family, like that acted this way. He was way more rash and immature. And I think it just had to do with his kind of stingy delivery that really kind of turned me off from him until like towards the end when or every time that he has to do something violent. That's when I see him and I respect his character a little more because he steps up to the plate like that and he does a great job, as you mentioned. So I'll give him that credit.
That's not an idiot. He's able to take care of those two hitmen.
That's true. Yep. Physically, he was well versed physically, and under Michael Corleone's mentorship, he strained out and he developed, and he became more mature, and that's when he lost kind of the the more idiotic functions he once had, and developed and figured things out. So I respect that.
That's an
But
arc.
I was not.
That's an
Yeah,
arc.
I'm not arguing he didn't have
Yeah,
one.
that's not a
I'm
bad
not
thing.
arguing.
These are all good things. This
Yes,
is what
but that
happens
doesn't mean-
within a movie when you have
When
a
it comes
character arc.
to just enjoying a character or not, though, that's why
Mhm.
I just am not a big fan.
It's
personally.
okay to not like a character at the beginning of a movie, and then when he rounds the corner at the end, and he's
Mhm.
very different and developed and new.
I still didn't like him till the very end. So yeah,
So all the way through, you didn't like him.
nah, not really, not till the
Hmm.
very end. Yeah,
Hmm.
but that's just me. Let's talk
He's able
about
to.
another.
He's able to give up Mary. He walks away from her, knowing
when
that he wants to
that's
do
when I
what's
liked
right.
him.
He wants to do what's right by his mentor, Michael.
Mhm. Yeah, that's when I respected him. I thought that was
Yeah.
a pivotal moment. I didn't think he was gonna do it. I thought he was gonna turn back and be like, "Nah, no thanks, old man." Or I thought if Michael had died, then I thought he would just go straight back to her. But obviously, as we'll talk about, that doesn't actually happen.
In what scenario?
In
How
our
would
version.
he? Okay. How would
What?
How would Vincent go back with Mary?
What do you mean?
You
Oh,
said that,
you're right. Oh yeah, duh. That totally slipped my mind.
What does he
All
become?
right, in this alternate world, I'm just now making up. Mary lives at the end, and he would get back to her.
Gotcha.
Boom.
Okay.
There
All
you
right.
go. Save. Let's talk about Mary now, though, because she is also, she's a pivotal character in this. So much of the film is weighed on, her safety and her relationship with Vincent as well as her father. And, this is sort of one of the last members of the Corleone family that Michael will die for. I mean, he really cares about her. And
Mhm.
I thought she was, a beautiful actress, and she seemed, performance wise, flat, bland, drab. We're going to show a clip in just a few minutes, which really showcases her inability to act, as well as Vincent's. I think it's not, I don't know if I could blame both of them as actors for this. I think the direction is just terrible, but I'm really excited to look at that clip. But, as a character, she's really not very complicated at all. Most of the film, we just, the main plot point with her is that she's in love with her cousin. That's kind of it. That's all I got through a one-time viewing where I haven't seen this 3 times over, fresh out of watching the movie. I didn't see her beyond a girl, a kind, compassionate daughter interested in her cousin who's a weirdo. So that's really all I can take from her, is that she's really very, very much so obsessed with this guy, and she's disappointed dad doesn't want her to be with her cousin. That's all I got. What about you guys?
Honestly, I thought she was decent as an actress, and then I don't know. I feel like she did any more, she wouldn't have been as good. I feel like she was just right. Because like you said, she was a simple character. I mean, she wasn't meant to be complicated. She was meant to be like a good side character, and to fit in with Vincent's role and Michael Corleone's role as well. Yeah, that's my take on it. It's short as well. Kyle,
I think it comes to delivery is her problem. I don't think. Well, I think it's also, she doesn't have much to work with, but the way she delivers these lines, it's like she's just reading from cue cards, bro.
I don't know, but I'm dying to see, Kyle, your facial expressions on this particular character. I just want to know. Just lay it out.
Again, this goes back to what I said about this romance is not supposed to be, I say in the video, Jack and Rose from Titanic. Okay, so if you're looking for a charismatic actress who's going to be, making you convinced that this is a romance you should get on board with, well, then that would be the wrong move. I think that Sofia Coppola plays this. Maybe it's, I don't think it's an accident that Coppola allowed this to get through in the way that her performance comes out. I think she comes out as a character who is still a teenager, who is uncomfortable in this situation of being in this family. I mean, she even has some business duties that it's in the background. She's at a meeting at one point. And I think she's a soft-spoken character who's actually a bit awkward. And we're seeing a character who's not initiated in this world as everyone else would be. Certainly, if you compare Mary to Connie, there's no comparison. She's like the matriarch in this movie.
Which
The
one's
sister,
Connie?
Michael's sister.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an interesting character. What happens with her? She does like a total 180. Interesting. I don't know. I feel like, we get so many other moments with her, like between her and Michael, and that's not dictated by the romance necessarily, where it just didn't seem like it was a great actress performing her craft. I don't think it has to be flamboyant, charismatic, ultra charisma to show that. But, I think that's a fair argument to say, she's playing an awkward, teenage girl, and that could be how they act. I don't know. It didn't sell it for me, just, emotionally, but that's fair. I guess
I can understand that having more of, because that scene on the rooftop is apparently ADR'd, and you can kind of tell that there is a flatness to her delivery, but it didn't throw me off so much that's where I put its causation in the context of this is a young character who is, we're so used to watching all these competent, colorful characters in the Godfather universe that when you see someone who's kind of deadpan in her delivery, it's off-putting. Okay, so
deadpan, that's about right.
Yeah, and I just don't think, I think she was lambasted way too much. I think it was unnecessary. If they I don't know why because I'm not like, why Kyle are you defending this movie? It's not like I'm being paid. Like this is this is something I felt while I was watching this movie, And I can sit here still and tell you that Coppola made the worst movie last year, Megalopolis, right? But
did you actually watch it?
I did. I saw it in the theater. I bought a ticket to go to that movie.
I was so curious about it.
Yeah, I wish I recorded. I should have turned on my phone and just recorded me. Ben was there and someone else, and we were just looking at each other and then like laughing in moments. But I can look back at a movie that he made just based off of the decision to start reviewing the Godfather trilogy. And when we get to the third, I had an open mind, although I was fully prepared to say, yeah, this movie doesn't work, and what I've heard about it, yeah, they're right. It makes sense. For 30 plus years, people are still ragging on this movie, but surprisingly, and it's not because I'm trying to be contrarian, some people have called me that. It's an instance of I see the value in this movie. And a lot of it has to do with the arc of Michael in a redemption story. Now, I take issue with the portion of the first two that have to do with him getting involved with crime and essentially being a bad guy. He starts as a young man who volunteers
veteran.
to go. Veteran. He volunteered to go because of Pearl Harbor, and then he gets back and semi-reluctantly gets involved in his crime family, even though he said, "That's not me." He tells Kay, "That's my family. That's not me." But out of duty and love for his dad, he gets roped into that, and it eventually swallows him up. But this film, Godfather 3, is the story of him trying to attain some of that young man that he lost. So when people have qualms about Michael trying to get back what he lost 20 or 30 years before within the storyline, I think that's ridiculous. I think that's just them they're just being bloodthirsty. They want a fucking story that's of him shooting people or hiring people and his goons to shoot people, and you see another montage like it happened in the first two movie of him being still in some kind of situation, meanwhile cutting to other people getting killed, and he's got his darkness to him.
We do kind of get that again, but not
Hey, I'm sorry. Finish your thought there, Kyle.
You do get a kind of a montage, but it's a different context. And there's actually a twist to it as well, because you see who gets killed on the other side.
That's true.
So people are being avenged from Michael's side, but also the people that are being attacked by Michael are the ones also doing their own attacking. You got both
That's
sides coming at
interesting.
each other.
That's one of the most confusing elements of this, and I want to hear your maybe some more analysis from you later, Kyle, because that was something I saw the ending, that montage, and I was thinking to myself, who's that? Who's that? Don't
Yeah.
remember him. Who's that?
Mhm.
And if you have a good order of that, that'd be great to talk about
It's
later.
no, this is the thing. I felt that way with the second film. There are a lot of characters that was that guy that guy? I think I saw him before. Wait, he was there an hour ago. Oh, here he comes up again. Gen X-Men, please.
Yeah,
what's
well, yeah, I was trying to decide what I wanted to say about the character Mary, played by Sophia, who's the director's daughter,
Mhm.
and I had no expectations for this movie other than I had heard it was kind of bad. That it was the one that sort of took it down, a darker path, or down the hole, if you will, into obscurity or something. But I didn't think the movie was that bad, really, and I didn't think the actress was that bad. I was somewhat. I think as a new viewer of this movie, and maybe as somebody that had seen the first two movies, I wondered if viewers were kind of offended by the fact that he would take his daughter and make her a central character in this third movie when she hadn't been a part of the first two. Actually, she did appear in both movies. I was looking her up, and she does have uncredited scenes as a baby and a toddler in the first two movies, but obviously, she didn't
pivotal
have
roles.
speaking parts. Yeah, but you just kind of wonder if people, there's like, he's just bringing his daughter in, just to give her leapfrog her, springboard her into fame and fortune, like he enjoys. And I think it worked, actually, because she did get a lot of other work after this. But yeah, I didn't think she did that great of I'm sorry, a poor job acting. It was different. And I the only thing I would find annoying about her, and some people will call this superficial, is I kept looking at her thinking, she kind of looks like her dad. And that kind of bothers me.
That's not really a compliment.
No, it's not. So if
Good old
anything,
Francis
it was
Ford
just
Coppola.
her, that we all bear resemblance to our family. And I just kept studying her face and thinking, yeah, that kind of looks like her dad. Yeah, that kind of. Anyway,
That's funny. Nice.
we can leave her behind, but I wanted to get that out there.
Well, something interesting I read about her was that initially it was Winona Ryder that was going to play the role, but then she
Before
bowed
her,
out.
it was Julia Roberts.
Wow.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Yep.
They
I would
tried
have
to get
taken
her.
either of them. That'd
Yeah,
be fine.
either of them would be great.
Okay, good. I think
No,
we
see,
definitely-
that's the thing. You just if you imagine Julia Roberts in that role, then you will be expecting Andy Garcia and Julia Roberts to have this love affair that we're
Yes.
supposed to root
Okay.
for.
Right.
That's true, because she's so good looking.
Well, or
Okay.
Winona Ryder for that matter.
You can just imagine in the kitchen sequence with Julia Roberts doing her laugh while she's doing
gosh.
making the food. You can see it.
Oh,
And it doesn't. That would off put you as well because you would feel uncomfortable. Wait, we love Julia Roberts in these romantic comedies. Shouldn't we
Right.
feel the same way about? No, because they're cousins.
Mhm. That's fair. Okay, yeah, that's the clip we're going to show pretty soon here,
All
and then I want to move on from this because we've talked this to death. But before I do, let's get to the chat. Thank you everybody for talking with us.
Oh yeah,
tonight.
hello chat.
All
You're
right,
still
geez,
here.
44 minutes in. Gosh, it goes so quick. I can't believe it. 44 minutes already. First up, King Kong 99. Like, share, and subscribe, or Vincent Corleone is going to date your daughter. All right, that's a threat right there, everybody. If you don't mind hitting that like button, sharing the stream, and subscribing, we'd greatly appreciate it. And subscribe to these lovely guys as well. Proctophile, how's it going, guys? We're doing good, man. Good to see you.
Hey, Procto.
Rachel Piercy Art. Hey, guys. Hey,
Hey,
Rachel.
Rachel.
Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. Let's see. Rachel Piercy talking about Scarface. That's a classic. We all love Scarface, of course. Let's see.
Meaning to watch that.
Megan's here as well. Megan the Texan. I liked Vincent. He is the new up and coming kid, and I love his maturity throughout the movie. It is kind of fun watching him mature.
I enjoy
different.
Maturation would be the better word to use for that.
Right.
Maturation. Never used that word in my life. Nice. Because I'm still going through maturation. That's
such a loose cannon in the beginning.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sly Jester, what's up, man? I've only seen the first Godfather movie, but happy to have the night off and a couple of cold ones on deck. Rock on, boys. Yes.
Hey.
Thanks, Sly Jester. Good to
Cheers,
see you, man.
Sly.
Cheers to Sly. Cheers to a good friend.
Cheers.
Let's see. Oh gosh, Proctophile giving us a lesson on inbreeding. Prior to the scientific insights into inbreeding, incest probably wasn't as taboo as it is now that we know what the consequences are. Yeah, I mean, this is a very
off what I
different time.
said.
Yeah, so wait.
Right.
Obviously, this came out in 1990. Do you know on the top of your head what like time this took place?
Yeah, the 70s, right?
Was the 70s?
I believe so, because
Wow.
the first one is in the 40s. Or the first two were in the 40s, I believe.
Oh, Sly Jester, he likes your cigar, Mr. Corwith. Very nice. If you're going to smoke, do it with class, unlike those damn vapors.
Yeah,
for
I don't
real.
recommend you touch those, guys.
Yeah, those are gross. It's not cool, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Proctophile noticed. Hold up. Is that a Lego cat? Yes, it is. Enjoy. It's right there. Let's see.
I thought it was a piggy bank cat.
No, it's not a piggy bank. It's Lego. Proctophile's got a good eye for these things. Sup, Luke? Hope you're doing well. Isn't that so sweet?
Likewise, Procto.
That's crazy. Yeah, Proctophile says, Julia Roberts was 23 when this movie came out. That's weird, like thinking that. And Proctophile also reminds us that it came out in 19.
Yeah, okay,
or the
70s.
time period was 79. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Great.
And I think it ends in 1980.
It ends in 80. Wow, that's crazy.
Well, you got to think about it. There is a period of time that happens when the movie starts and it ends because there needs to be a bit of time, specifically even for the relationship with Mary and Vincent to develop, but mostly for Michael to mentor him. Yeah.
Well, you just like led into another one of my questions and my points I wanted to talk about, which I'm wondering, were you guys satisfied and intrigued by the present time period of this film? Like where we are, from the end of Godfather Part 2 to this point? Because, 20 years, a lot happens. And I have a few things written down here I just want to mention. So, throughout this 20 years, obviously, Michael, he's kind of isolated and he's really screwed up over what he did to Fredo. So we see him dealing with that trauma. We also see him, legitimizing the Corleone family business. So this is obviously a much more clean trade. And I thought it was like, I was particularly perplexed when in the very beginning he mentions, or somebody mentions, that the Corleone family, they sold all their casinos because that was a big element in their trade. So I was just instantly kind of taken back when I heard that. And then, of course, during this gap, they founded the Corleone Foundation for charity and public respectability, I guess. And, that's very different. This is a crime boss, fortune founding organization. And here we are. Now we're dealing with charity. Like, this is weird. Of course, during this time, he also divorced Kay, and their relationship, is a little bit strained, even though it kind of builds back up a little bit in this.
I think it was the other way around that Kay divorced him.
Oh, okay. Was that so? Okay. Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. But, and then we also see how the children, or at least, the son really doesn't care much for him at all. And he's more interested in, mom. And then also off screen, Tom Hagen is dead. That's a pretty big deal. No more Robert Duvall.
Yeah. And you're right to look. It's an off-screen logistical issue that they went into, and a monetary dispute, salary dispute between Robert Duvall and the studio.
So this was before he was blackballed.
Oh, yeah?
Robert Duvall, before he was blackballed.
He was blackballed in Hollywood. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, wouldn't you say?
I don't know.
I thought it was.
I
thought it was like early 2000s. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I haven't seen him in a big movie in a long time. And I know he's super old, but I just kind of assumed he was. But all
He's
right,
been
maybe
in
I'm wrong.
films.
Yeah, I think he kind of
He's-
floats in and out of things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, forget
He's
it.
just
Whatever.
he's an older actor. He was in Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise like 10
Oh yeah,
years
he
ago.
was
or so.
super
Yeah.
old in
Right.
that.
He's still
All right.
making movies.
All right,
He was in
forget
The
it.
Judge with Robert Downey Jr.
That was a long time ago.
Not that long.
All right, whatever. What do you guys think of this period,
Look at that
Kyle?
tangent.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Oh,
Gen X man?
okay, yeah. I just have a pregnant thought here, as they say.
All right, deliver it.
Nice.
You're in labor. Go.
When
Push.
when you said how does the time period compare between the movies, and I I remembered an impression I had more towards the end of Godfather 3 that the pace of life was faster in Godfather 3. There was like, just more complexity surrounding everything compared to the older movies, which sort of flowed more slowly. There were fewer people involved or engaged and with each other. And I just sort of wondered, wow, I guess, life is kind of like that. I mean, and even more so today. And perhaps that's why it stands out so much, because everything is so frenetic and everybody is bouncing off everything all the time. And
True.
it seemed like in their lives, their empire had expanded so much that it was known internationally, and maybe that's why it just seemed like there was more activity, just more things happening all around them than the first couple movies.
Yeah, that's something I thought was particularly like exciting in the very beginning, is you just realized how rich the Corleone family was. I mean, they're investing $600 million. Like we didn't hear of any cheddar like that in the first two films. So that was exciting. I mean, that's a big improvement upon what we've seen with the Corleone family. And I'm definitely curious to see how he got to that amount, because obviously that's a lump sum of cash he has available on hand.
He invested in Amazon.
Yeah, that was smart. Yeah, really early
No, Apple.
on.
Yeah.
Apple, there you go. What about you guys?
I don't know. This is I don't really have much of a take on this one, so I'm just gonna hand it off to you guys afterwards. But me and the other Jacks were mentioning that, I don't know, we kind of got like a TV movie vibe from this third film. I don't know. I don't know. Just like I don't know. It's can't really explain it. Just like the way it was filmed. I don't know. It just wasn't my favorite. I don't have much of an explanation. Like once he said it, that's all I could think about. And I was
Had the vibe.
Yeah, I don't know. It just had the vibe. I personally don't have a problem with that. I enjoy it, like the modern-ish time period rather than the first two films. I found it a lot easier to follow. It was quicker. It was quicker for me than the first two,
even though its runtime is around the same.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah. But I don't know.
It's pretty much an hour off of the second one. I mean, that second one was 3.5 hours long, but this is like 240.
I like to scratch the whole TV movie thing. Like, I mean, I there's no like explanation I have for it, but my take on it is that it was faster for me and a lot more thrilling. The way the film.
Wow, you thought it was more thrilling.
That's yeah, much more for me at least.
Wow. Real quick before anyone else comments,
I wanted to say that the reason what I meant to say was that the part 3 is similar to the other, meaning the first. They're close in runtime. They're about 10 minutes away from each other. Anyway.
Okay. You're cool, man. I like what Gord King says here. What's up, Gord King? Sofia Coppola alone takes this movie down 3 points out of 10. There we go, Gord King.
Oh, boy.
Let's go. Appreciate it, Gord. Okay. Well, I guess there's not too much to talk about here. I thought, I think I enjoy something I just love about the Godfather trilogy with this movie included is I think there's just so much respect and so much depth put into just the minor details, into the world building. I think the Godfather world, is so interesting, and that's what's so perplexing too. Is just listening, listening carefully to the dialogue, because you just learn so many things about these characters that if you just blank out for 5 seconds, you could miss a crucial plot point. So I do enjoy that, and I think in the very beginning it did a good job at kind of keeping or putting us back on track and filling in those gaps from 20 years, because that's just a long time. It's crazy to think that much time passed. But obviously this movie is, if you like the movie or not, it is widely acclaimed as a disappointment. So I was wondering if you guys, because I think we all can definitely list some criticisms, but what do you think gives it such a bad rap that people hate on it so much?
I emphasize in my video that people hate on this movie because it is a divergence from the previous two in terms of the character of Michael. But the fact is, and I mentioned this in my video, now available on my channel, just so you can get a deeper insight into this movie, is that Michael becomes more like his dad in the first film. And people don't want to acknowledge that.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
No, that's true, because in the first, well, maybe it's more, you see it in the second movie, that the dad started out pretty hard-edged, and then he softened up a lot in his elder years. And then once he retired from Godfather life, he's running through the bushes or whatever with his grandson, just having fun. And therefore, Michael Corleone followed the same path and ended up in a wheelchair at the very end, right? Somewhere in Sicily.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. He does not
Yeah, I don't think. I don't want to. We're not careful about spoilers because these are essential to talk about.
Yeah.
Him going back to Sicily. Also, I don't mention this in my video, but I think it's an indication that I think he felt more of a connection to Sicily, not just because that's where his dad is from, etc., but also that's where his true love died. That's where Apollonia died, and I do believe that Apollonia was his actual true love, not Kay.
Which is funny, because she said like 5 words in the whole movie. I don't know.
I know.
You mean Apollonia in the first one?
Personality there, yeah.
But she is such a. But that's the thing, is it's not all conveyed through dialogue. It's through looks and behavior.
Yeah, so captivating and intriguing. I thought that was something that was particularly kind of comical in this, was Al Pacino is literally taking his second ex-wife, on a tour of Sicily, and he's kind of going to the highlights of his relationship with his first wife. I thought that was the funniest thing. Oh, this is where
funny.
I was here and I was here, and he's taking it with the second wife. It just, to me, it was so odd. It made me laugh.
Wow. Dude,
you didn't think that was kind of funny?
No, I don't think that's funny, and I'm not trying to shame you on that. I'm saying it might be a difference of just an age perspective. I think that's very vulnerable of him to do that, and it's very realistic for a man to be vulnerable with someone that he trusts, to go throughout his past and talk about things like that, not only with his ex-wife, but also his children. He talks to his kids about Apollonia briefly. We even see Mary looking at pictures of her. These are this goes into a more of a personal discussion that I won't get into about just my own history, and to have a dad who would do that is something that is very admirable. Let's just say that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, hey, but back to something you started with, Kyle. I think you're right. People saw a different Michael Corleone in this third movie than they did in the second movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when we left him in the second movie, he was stone cold, and in the third movie, he was not. Really, almost from the beginning, and by the end, he was opening up and bleeding for anybody that wanted to listen to him. Is kind of how it seemed.
But not entirely. There are still shades of old Michael in this. There are. And you see it when, and Benjamin mentioned this. Don't get annoyed with me because I'm gonna mention the video, some things, but Benjamin mentioned this in the video, is during the scene when he's shaving Michael's face, and they're talking about this scheme to get involved with the bad guys. Michael very subtly mentions the scenario that you tell them that you're going to run off with Mary, you're unhappy and you're angry with me, etc. And he said, well, if you did such a thing, you would become my enemy. So that's
sure.
that's a threat right there.
Right.
And you think about what would happen if Vincent did that. What would Michael do? I think old Michael would have come out there,
I think people, I think like a weird comparison I drew when I was watching this was to Joker 2, Folie à Deux. I think, people, the expectations were so
like Folie à
different.
Deux.
Yeah, for real. A lot of people, geez. I remember when I saw that in theaters, people were just sighing, leaving out. Everyone hated it. And I understand their criticisms. But I felt kind of similarly about this, not offended at all in this one, because I was fine with seeing a more somber, merciful, compassionate Michael. I didn't have a problem with that because I didn't go in with any expectations here. But I imagine with the buildup back then and all the conversations that stemmed, with all the time that amassed, and you just built up wondering about what's happening next, I can imagine that it was disappointing to see that he wasn't exactly the kick-ass guy he was, because those characters are always cool. And that's with Joker too. You watch the first Joker and you see him just rise to the top, and then in the second film you want to see him being that mob boss, the leader, the coolest guy in the room, kind of leading a revolution. But we didn't get that at all. Obviously they neutered him to the ground. And you see sort of a pity party for his character for like 2 hours straight as he loses his mind and loses himself and loses all of that confidence he built up in the first movie. I saw a little bit of that in this, but it didn't offend me at all watching it in this fashion, though.
You're right about Joker,
Folie
of Pooh, and but it doesn't apply to Godfather 3 because, as I said before, he becomes more like Vito, and that arc has literally already been displayed there, where Vito, coming as an immigrant to New York City, becomes a ruthless killer and a respected leader and crime boss, to then become someone who is even merciful and very skilled at what he does, and subtle and measured, though he doesn't have outbursts like Al Pacino does. But we enjoy Al Pacino's outbursts. He has some great ones in here, and I thoroughly enjoyed them.
And they're earned.
Yeah, they're fantastic dramatic moments. Him telling Vincent to, "Would you shut up?" It's like, it's great. He's trying to. That's part of his mentoring. He's know when to shut up, know when to talk, know when to listen. Ears to hear. Slow to speak.
But back to kind of the time span that all these movies cover. I mean, you see this character, Michael Corleone, change a couple of times, right? He's not the Godfather in the first movie. He's just this guy that's back from war and doesn't want anything to do with his family.
He's a young veteran.
He's a young veteran, and he enters into the business and he becomes what he has to become to run this criminal empire. And then he reached a certain point where he realized, wait a minute, why am I doing all this? What was the point? And then he kind of comes back around, and I think just that's how all of us are. I mean, we all grow and change somewhat over the years. We're not the exact same person we are when we're 20, then 50, then 70, and even relatives I've had. I've seen dramatic changes in some of them, some for the better, some for the worse. But yeah, if you're going to take a character throughout their lifespan, there's going to be different chapters in that story for sure.
That's true. I mean, 20 years is that's a lot of time, right? Anything can happen in 20 years. So that's fair. Good point. Let's see what the chat has to say real quick, because it looks like people are giving some interesting perspectives. Thanks, everybody, for sharing your thoughts. Let's see. Gord King. The storytelling is significantly worse, and again, it features a genuinely awful performance by the director's daughter. That said, I don't think the movie is as bad as some make it out to be. Oh, definitely not. No. Sly Jesters recommending Falling Down. Duvall was an awesome foil in Falling Down. Never heard of that. And then Megan, the Texan. Hi, Megan. Thinking about this now, but it sucks how Michael won't have the same experience that Vito had hanging out with his grandkids.
Yeah.
Aw, that is sad. Good point. Unless he has another kid.
Unless
I don't think that's happening.
Unless
Oh yeah, his son.
His son has kids. I forgot.
Is it Anthony?
His son's name. Anthony. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Tony.
Yeah.
Rachel Pierce Art. It's tragic. Kay and Michael were friends at that point, and she understood the need he felt for that last free moment in his life. Aw. Hey, Proctofile. Blah. I was repressing my memories of Joker too. Thanks, Brawler. Yeah, sorry, man. Let's see. No one wants to remember that. My bad. Bad reference. Proctofile. 100%. You're understanding the world changes so much in 20 years, especially nowadays. Oh, yeah, I bet. I mean, geez, the world just keeps changing. I know this is unfortunately a little irrelevant at this point. I thought we would circle back to Sofia Coppola's character, but I want to experiment and play this clip real quick because I'm still trying to kind of learn this. So, be patient. And unfortunately, we might have to cut this out for people watching replay. But I think we definitely need to visit one of the worst scenes in the entire movie, which you mentioned earlier, Kyle, which is the one of the first moments when Mary and Vincent surrender to their temptations in the kitchen. Very romantic. So let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Do you remember this, Gen X fan? This is a good one.
Oh yeah, I'm giggling here with myself on mute.
He can't wait. All right, let's see how this works. You guys are gonna have to let me know. All right, we're just looking at it straight from YouTube.
Oh, I thought you had it prepared.
That's what I thought.
Well, I think I know. Like I said, we're gonna try this out. Okay, can you see this?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's
Nice.
play it. Let's see how we do. Does it look okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Just me and Aunt Connie in the house. I feel better when I'm with you.
What's wrong, sweetheart?
I'm really scared about my father.
Don't be scared.
When I saw them take him out of that ambulance, I thought he was dead.
I know. Everybody says he's going to be better.
Oh,
Don't worry, okay?
I remember them shooting at our house when I was little. Then Al Neri came one time with other bodyguards. And just
Okay. All right. Real quick. We'll just pause it real quick. Okay. Kyle, can you not see what I'm seeing here?
No, I understand what the criticism, but it still stands. My explanation for it is, and you should add it to it. She just is explaining that she has a little bit of PTSD. She experienced and remembered being in the house when a whole bunch of gunfire came through her window. You don't think that would have messed up a kid a little bit?
Well, it's not just her. I mean, do you hear them just back and forth? Yeah, I hear you. And then he did that. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, come on, bro. That was awful. We are not downplaying this, man. No way. All right, let's keep it going.
took me and Tony away.
Is it all happening again?
I like that, sweetie.
Come on, it's like we're great, an ad. That's perfect. That's how
Just
it works.
mute
with
it,
me,
mute
man.
it while it
All right,
plays,
all right, we'll play
or like take it
we'll play
away.
this stupid
Not
ad.
sponsored.
Don't give him free sponsor, man. Don't give him a free ad.
Okay. All
Just
right,
bring
there you
us into
go.
view while it plays.
All right, wait, it's almost over. Just
Okay.
wait 1 second. All
Click
right,
it
we're
away,
learning.
yeah.
We're learning, everyone. Okay. Come on. This sounds like it's straight from the room, man. Come on. Oh wait, here I gotta play the audio again.
Yeah.
Can I stay here and hide out with you for a while?
Help me make gnocchi for the boys. Okay.
All right.
Bruh, and this has to be like, I don't know. Okay, I think I like where you're going. I almost called you Michael. Kyle, I like where you're going, mentioning that they're, it's supposed to be awkward and she's awkward. And, you know, I think this has to be one of the most strange romance scenes I've ever seen because first of all, what they're doing together here, like barely touching the dough and just gliding it across the table. It doesn't really I don't know. It doesn't it makes no sense really. They're literally not doing anything and it's just kind of gross to me.
It's just I'm just waiting for Chris Hansen to pop up. Like that's what I was kind of waiting for
Yeah.
any moment.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Vincent, he's definitely a lot older than her.
He's manipulative. He's manipulative, and he knows what he's doing. You know?
I paid attention. I don't recall her age being specifically mentioned, but if you look at the age and the time that passes from part 2 to this, she actually would be in her early 20s, possibly.
Okay.
I imagine her somewhere between 17 and 19.
That's what I was imagining.
So,
but yeah,
She
this
was
does
about
take place
18 when
20.
this was made.
okay.
The actress?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you make a good point, Kyle. I mean, 20 years pass. I mean, that's a, you know, that means she's 20 because didn't we see her as a baby?
No, she was a kid. She was she's walking around. There was that hallway sequence.
All right, so she's
you remember the hallway
definitely 20.
sequence? They cut to them with the caretaker, the babysitter, and Kay and Michael are arguing.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So
that
they're
can't
hopping
even
and
be.
skipping down the hallway. They look like they're 4 years old or so.
Okay, all right.
So
let's
again,
just finish this real quick.
Yeah,
I
16
don't wanna
years
leave this
later,
any-
around 20 years old. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's some Italian dish they make. That's a real thing.
That's a gnocchi.
Bro, look, they doing nothing.
Coppola talked. No,
nothing.
dude, Coppola talked about this. It's not something I'm familiar with, but he said it in the commentary, and take his word for it. It's a dish that something they make. Some things. They
I don't
make.
even.
gnocchi.
They're not even touching the dough or whatever this is.
You have
They're
to
just-
roll it
look.
like that. Yeah, I guess that's a little fishy.
It's getting a little steamy in here, brawler.
Okay, yeah. all right. You get the picture. Yeah, it's getting steamy in here. Exactly. Gen X man. Sorry. Conceal your eyes, people. Conceal your eyes. All right, we'll see. That'll probably unfortunately have to get taken down. I'm still learning how this works. But yeah, that just
No, I think it should be fine.
that just for me, little things like that really that I actually I really enjoyed this movie, which you might not think that's how I've reacted.
Based
to
on
this
how
based
you've
on
been
what I've been
speaking,
saying.
yes.
Okay,
It does
I
not
did.
seem
I
like
did
you enjoyed
enjoy
it.
this. I did. I left and I was satisfied. I was satisfied with Godfather 3. But we're nitpicking right now, right off the bat. We're gonna get.
It
to
doesn't
happier
sound
things
like that
too.
because you're saying things that a lot of people condemn the film for on the aggregate, and just as a whole, they just bombard it with all this stuff, and they just dismiss it outright.
Well, no,
off
I'm
of
not
just things
dismissing
like
it.
that.
I'm not dismissing it. I am mentioning things that bothered me, which I have the right to do, obviously. And but that doesn't. There's a lot of other more positive things I want to get to as well. And this is, I think this is an interesting question because, as we have mentioned quite a few times, Vincent was just it seemed like he was just kind of plugged into the family here. Do you guys think that he was worthy of becoming the Don when he was in the film?
Still some maturing to do, but given time.
That's fair, and I like what you said, but that's the point. And it's also it's multi-dimensional in the way that. All right, so this is another thing that I mentioned in my video, now available right now, is when Michael bestows the title onto him in that scene, people say that it's too quick, and that it's not well done, it's not ceremonious. That's on purpose because Michael wants to be rid of this title. He wants out. Goes back to the famous line that's in the film. Just when I thought it was out, they pulled me back in.
Okay, so this was the stem of that line. Okay,
so he's watching from the doorway just before he walks out, and he almost has this look of regret that he's given it to Vincent because he knows what's in store for him. There could be a lot of, it's likely, misery, but he knows that Vincent wanted it, which is different than his situation in Godfather 1. He almost did it as a duty. And remember, he's a veteran. So when he had family that was in crisis, he stepped up out of duty. And then he goes to become the Don out of duty. Vincent wants the mantle, but he's doing it respectfully, and he's doing it by way of learning from Michael. And he's so, in the best way possible, he's submissive to Michael in the moment where he says, "Say the word, say the word. I'll do what you need. I'll you know."
Yeah.
Like, he is respectful to Michael in that moment. And he's grown a lot since the beginning of the film.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. This is an aspect I respect too. You know, this is I liked that this wasn't it wasn't necessarily, you know, it wasn't continuing what we saw from Godfather Part 2. I like that this was switching things up. And I enjoyed these different variables that were unusual. I not the weird romance stuff necessarily, but I liked seeing his progression. I liked seeing his, you know, rise to becoming the Don, because I agree that, you know, Michael, once he sort of has that awakening with the bishop or the man to be the Pope, that's when this film sold me. I really enjoyed where it went from that point on.
Lamberto is the cardinal.
Lamberto. Okay, he was a cardinal. Okay, great. Yeah, once that guy came into the picture, I was that had me sold, because that was a moving segment of the film for me. And I liked seeing the chaos and the madness that ensued past that point. But yeah, I think his character becoming the Don, it needed more time, but I think you make a good point. You know, at that point, Michael was like, okay, you know what? I'm a changed man now. I'm definitely done with these antics. I'm just going to get out of here. And as you say, this guy's ready. He's interested. Let's give him the mantle. And you know what? When he becomes the Don, he does what a Don does. And he does similar things that we saw young Al Pacino do. And, you know, it seems to go in his favor.
I've never asked this question, so please try to answer it. What did you expect in a scene in which someone does get the mantle of the Don? Visually and audibly?
Visually.
Yeah, sure. What is something that's missing that you wanted?
Oh, well, I wasn't saying I didn't like it. I liked what happened. I just thought, you know, this was an unprepared young man being thrown into this.
Just the figure that was being brought into the mantle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised.
It's a big deal, especially this enterprise is so much bigger than what was before as well. So it's, you know, a huge deal. Like one of the biggest positions in the whole world at this point, I imagine.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of them. Yeah, because of how much power and money is involved.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I asked the question because I would have posed this question to people that are really strongly critical on the film, who say that scene is too rushed, etc. And I'll ask the question, well, what are you expecting? Can we go back to the first film, which essentially is the ending of the first film is the moment he becomes the Don, where he has his hand kissed by those 2 or 3 gentlemen, and then the door closes on Kay. So I don't know what the hell they were expecting. Do they want him to be in an arena and he's on stage? Like, what are you expecting? Did you want candles? Is that what you wanted? Did you want candles, everyone? Probably. I don't know. I think it makes sense character wise, the way it goes down, and it does seem rushed. Like, and I like that it's rushed because it makes sense. Again, I'm reiterating character wise for Michael to rush it. He kind of like snaps his fingers, and Connie and I think Al Neary come through the door, and a couple other people just immediately, and they're ready for the moment to witness that Vincent is going to become the Don now. So, and I appreciate some brevity in movies. There's something wrong with the second one, and I think we all agreed on that, was that it was too long.
Yeah.
So,
jeez. An hour too long.
Yeah, this third film is actually the shortest out of all of them, just by a long hair, 10 minutes or so compared to the first film. but the more I talk about the film, the more I like it. I think it is a good film, and I'm not. I think there are people out there that are reticent to say it's a good film. You know, I think it's a really good film, even with its flaws. Robert Duvall not being in it is a flaw. Pacino not lashing out at Vincent for dating his daughter is a flaw, I think. But those are the top ones that come to me right now. But they're not so terrible. There's so many good things about it, and the dynamics between the characters that interest me. They fascinate me. They hold my attention. They engage me. The end sequence is utterly profound, and you will see in my video when you watch it how much it does. I tell Ben how significant that scene got to me.
You're talking about like the assassination stuff? Okay, good. Yeah, we're going to get into that next.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any final thoughts about this? Gen X Man, Galliardo?
Like I said, other than a sequel,
Gen X Man left the room.
Gen X Man is logged up
again. I think it
as he left the building.
Trio. I was afraid it was going to be like a sequel, like we recently watched in what was that Adam Sandler movie that just
Happy
came out?
Gilmore.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore. I
gosh.
mean, that was forgettable. You don't need to watch that if you've seen the first one. Just enjoy the first one and the memories you have of it, and skip the second one. Yeah, I don't think Godfather 3 is quite that bad. It's not a throwaway. It is worth watching, particularly if you want to see what happens to these characters later in their lives. So I think I would recommend it for those who are fans of the Godfather franchise.
Yeah,
I agree.
Need to finish it with this. That's for sure.
The scene, you want some taste of what Godfather 2 did? That scene where Zaza gets killed is straight out of Godfather Part 2 with Blackhand. It's like a bigger version of when Blackhand was stalked by Vito.
Blackhand was the ugly, like, Don, wasn't he?
He was the guy in the white suit and the white hat.
Yeah, he was pretty ugly.
It's a crowd sequence in the street. It's a similar.
I thought that.
As far as I know, they may have even shot in the same exact street. You know, who knows?
Yeah, that's a good. You know, I think like when I was watching this, I was more intrigued watching 3 than I was the second one. The second one,
I think everybody was.
Dude, I really appreciate you saying that.
Yes. See,
cool.
I'm not. Okay. Hey, we're not. We're allies here, Kyle. I'm not your enemy today.
I'm gonna say right now, it is absolute bullshit how everybody that I know was talking down about this movie.
Are you talking about the guys that were in the room while you were watching, or just in general?
In general, like people have asked about, like at work, like I'm like, hey, we're watching Godfather. Oh, that one's a rough one. That's strange. There's a strange take to it,
man.
and I'm like, man, we're all dragging our feet, like on it, because like in our heads, it's a bad film and it's an unnecessary film. But
in the cultural zeitgeist, it's known as being a bad film, and I think people are just fucking parroting people. Quack, 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 quack. Let me just like carry this over to the next person, etc., etc. You know?
Yeah, that's how it goes. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering how many. It's so funny. This movie, it's one of those films everybody just says bad things about. I don't think I've ever heard a positive interpretation of this until really with you, Kyle. That's why I've been just dreading watching this.
And neither have I.
So much disappointment coverage. Neither of you, really? Oh
no, at most the videos that I've seen, I've looked up videos to see if someone is praising the film, because that's what I do. I did with this film in my video, and now here I am doing it as well. But I looked up other creators' videos, and the most that people will acknowledge is what Gen X Man is saying is that it's not that bad. It's better than it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And it's like people are hesitant to say that it's better than it's not that bad. And I notice with you two, Luke and Jackson, you are saying that you enjoyed this finally, after an
Yeah.
hour and a half,
I
you
was
finally
surprised.
said it out
Well, I
loud.
didn't
You
want to say
enjoyed
it
this
yet.
better
I wanted
than the
to-
second.
I wanted to build it
I can
up.
say
I
I'm-
wanted to build it
I'm
up.
astounded that I enjoyed it.
Kyle was hating us for the longest time. Now he's like, okay, they're not that
Yeah.
bad.
They enjoyed this.
That's good. We're not here to hate on you, Kyle.
So
we're
what
all
does
on the
that
same
mean?
team.
What does that mean when you say that the third film you enjoyed it better than the second? What does that mean then?
I think I was more intrigued to see what was going to happen with Michael, and especially knowing because
The
of the
death of
title.
Mile. Yeah.
The death of Michael Corleone. And what balls to put that in the title, right? And
Well, I kind of
unfortunately,
understood.
it's a big spoiler, but it's not at the same time. It's a misdirection, everybody, a misdirection. And that was, I think that created a lot of intrigue. And I think when it comes to like the villains in this story, I was not intrigued very much because I had a hard time identifying who they even were. But other than that, I was I was very interested in seeing where Vincent was going to go. And, I was intrigued by his development and watching him mature and become, lead up to that point. And also I love redemption, and it's so nice and encouraging to see what happens with Michael in this and see what quick of a turnaround he goes through. And it's encouraging, it's inspiring. And at that point I was definitely like, okay, yep, I'm in. I really enjoyed that segment into this. And I know you definitely did too, Gen X man, because we were talking, beforehand about it as well, that was a pivotal moment for both of us. What about you, Luke? Why do you say that?
Why I think that's better than the second film? Like
Wilkie.
Corey's here.
Hey, Wookie. My first thing, we already mentioned it. The title is so intriguing. It makes a lot of the scenes like more of the end, the final scenes, very like thrilling and like suspenseful, because there are a lot of times when Michael is under a big threat and you're like, oh, this is it. This is why it's the death of Michael. And then nothing happens. You're like, what? And then you keep on waiting for something to happen. And then on the very end, you're like, oh yeah, that's where the misdirect is. It's there. But also, I don't know. Like I said, it was a faster paced pace, much more thrilling for me. A lot of scenes kept me on my toes. I know we're gonna get to our favorite scenes, but especially the auditorium scene. A lot going on there. A lot of different events happening at the same time, and I like how they're like showing the play at the same time, and then it shoots over to like I liked it.
Yeah, the buildup of tension. Let's talk about that, because that's the next point I want to get into. Is this was set up to be the Lincoln assassination. Clearly, I mean, I think audiences were all led to believe this is going to be the next. What is it, John Wilkes Booth?
Yes,
I was,
Lincoln.
I was so worried because we're seeing this Michael, and he's becoming such a great Michael, and I was really, as I mentioned, just inspired by his character and seeing him transform into a much better man that cares and turned away from his evil past. And at this point, it's like, no, don't let him die. I don't want him to die. I like him too much. This is a good guy right here. And seeing him and his family proudly support their son, who went away from their initial desires for him, or at least Michael's initial desires to, pursue the family as a lawyer to some degree. And, they were there to support him, and the son gave a great performance, and they were very proud of his performance. And that was, such a great mass of build up here. You have so much happening in the background with the different assassins and the guards like kind of dopily trying to sway the assassin away from him. And there were so many good little like shocking elements to that, where it's like, oh, whoa, he's dead. Oh wait, no, but he's not dead.
Yeah,
And
I want to
he is
ask
dead.
you that. Did you think that the first bodyguard had the guy had the assassin
Like kill him?
had killed him, or at least taken over the situation?
Well, when his mouth was wide open.
Yeah.
No,
I had a
You knew
feeling
that it was
there
a foil?
something off.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I don't know why. That was kind of weird because, like, I mean, he didn't look dead. He just kind of looked like he was like waiting to attack, and that's.
But thankfully, it was in the dark, because if it had to be in the shadows
Right.
for that
Yeah.
It
to
looks so stupid.
be believable for that guy to approach
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, that didn't convince me. But yeah, how do you guys feel about that whole segment? Because Luke, you were just mentioning it. That was one of the more intriguing.
Yeah,
segments for
it
you.
was intense, and you were just waiting for something bad to happen to Michael Corleone, which it didn't. Nothing happened. We were all like you said, John Wilkes Booth, right?
Mhm.
It's almost like you think it's a shot for shot of what happened, but it doesn't happen that way. I was waiting for someone to come behind him and just off him, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember saying out loud during that scene that it was hard to watch, especially like when the assassin brought up the rifle
yes,
and started to seek out his target and all that. I mean, it was when's the bullet gonna fly? And the other thing that was tense about it was, is anybody gonna pick up on the fact that there's something going on here? I was waiting for
Yeah.
other loud sounds, like somebody get punched, or maybe
Right.
somebody fires their gun, but they don't hit anybody, just to sort of break the rhythm of the assassination attempt. But nope,
Right.
it didn't happen. Not
I
that
agree.
way.
And also the practical effects in that scene was pretty great. One of my favorite parts.
What are you
What,
talking about?
You don't remember any of those practical effects, like the stabbing and.
I don't think we really see anything, do we?
Yeah, you do. You see or you see a pair of glasses.
Oh,
go
well,
through
that's
his
later.
throat.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
same
not.
scene, right?
Is that no? We're
Yeah.
talking about like the Lincoln assassination in the opera.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that
Cuts
happen
back
at
and
the same
forth.
time?
It cuts back and
Okay.
forth.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. I
it
can't
happens
remember.
up
I thought
in-
it was afterwards.
So yeah, the practical effects was pretty nice.
That was cool.
Practical makeup effects. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but I didn't like. Me and the other Jacks were talking about how when the dude, I forget what happened. I forget if he was shot, but blood just like shot out like a water fountain. Like
Well, you got shot in
stabbed
the
him with a
neck
pair of
or
glasses.
whatever.
Yeah, but that I don't think it would have shot out. It was kind of, I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't have happened that way. It was kind of an intense moment. That kind of made it funny, like for me.
Guys, there's a thought that's lingering in my mind, which is I get a sense. There's no confirmation on this, but I just get a sense that Christopher McQuarrie was inspired by this movie and made the Rogue Nation opera scene.
Rogue Nation. What are you talking about?
Inspired by this. No
You
one
know
saw
what he's talking
Rogue
about,
Nation.
Gen X-Men?
Mission Impossible 5.
No, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, there's a pretty
Your
great
reference
opera
didn't land with
sequence.
us, unfortunately.
Oh,
You see the
people in the
resemblance,
chat
huh?
will know. People in the chat will know what I'm talking about.
Oh, good.
By the way, there is a comment that Proctophile mentioned that is delayed by a few minutes, but I appreciate him saying that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Kyle, I'll definitely check out your video. That was probably the most passion I've heard you express about a piece of media. Wow. There you go. Cool. Proctophile is very attentive, too, so he sees these things. Nice. Huh. Yeah. I think with me, with this scene, I was, it's so nice to care about a character and to be so invested in somebody that you are horrified that they're going to get hurt or horrified that any ill will be placed upon them. And that was definitely the case with Michael. Honestly, the first two, I was very interested in him. And I cared about him, but it's different now. And maybe it's also because he's old here and he's become more of a grandpa. And, I think it's so strange because, we're able to make so many ties to Marlon Brando's character, of course, because this is, these characters are so similar, as you said, Kyle. And, I loved Marlon Brando for a lot of those qualities he had. And I also loved Al Pacino for a lot of the similar qualities he had here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just made for just a great mix of emotions when it came to this scene. And I think this leads up perfectly to what actually happens right after the operatic, performance, of course, after this entire scene where the assassin, he's like concealed as a priest. He, attempts to kill Michael Corleone. It fails. He doesn't actually get a shot on him. And he ends up killing two of the bodyguards. and he has a second plan, plan B, which is not the best plan, is when everybody's, left the theater, they're all outside. He pulls a pistol on him and he fires at him. He wings him. He wings Michael Corleone, and the daughter gets shot in the chest and she dies. How did you guys feel when that happened?
I was going to point out, I didn't say anything, but that acting was phenomenal with Al Pacino.
Yeah, here I have a picture.
Who was screaming? Was it Grace? Or no, not Grace Hamilton. I'm looking at the cast right now. It wasn't Kay. Yeah, was it Kay that was screaming in the background too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Al Pacino and Kay, and Diane.
Diane Keaton.
That was phenomenal. That was
you got it,
great.
man.
That was great.
Nice.
You're getting it right. Yep.
My favorite part right there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like this was, Kyle, you've mentioned earlier that, the outbursts we get with Al Pacino are always special because they're so rare. And because, a lot of the time, especially the first two movies, he's stone cold and he hides his cards, and that's a good call, and he mentions, several times here to Vincent, don't tell people what you're thinking, which is mostly a great trait for life itself, right? Because not everybody has to know everything you're thinking all the time.
Except if you're on a live stream. Isn't that the
That's
irony,
right. This
isn't
is
it?
the space. Isn't that nice? We get it all out of our system. But that's what makes this also so special, is this is the greatest, most catastrophic outburst we ever have from him, to a point where he is literally non-vocal and he is just mouth wide open gasping. He is so unbelievably shocked,
almost like when a toddler is crying and you're like, and he like making the face that Al Pacino is making here and trying to let out a breath, but it just can't.
So that this is an artistic editorial choice, that Al Pacino performed this scene and he is screaming. So when they were filming, he let out that wail the whole time, but they muted his scream for the first part. Now, what ends up happening is, one, it ends up hearkening to feeling like a silent film, and also it feels as though he has gotten the worst gut punch in his life, and he can't make any fucking sound. Okay.
Wow.
There are so many levels to this that hit me in ways that I think are magnificent. I think this scene is profound. I love this sequence.
And also made you wonder whether he was having a massive heart attack while making this face out of pain.
This is like the closest we see to him being on death's door, really. I mean, Luke, both of us were watching this. I think you mentioned while we were talking, is he dead now? We thought he died.
I was like, this was it. Here's the death of Michael. Yeah,
literally. So, poetic, of course, his daughter dies, and then he has a heart attack or whatever else happens, and he dies alongside her. And then, shortly afterwards, obviously that's not the case. But, fair point there. Gen X.
Yeah, I had that same experience. I was trying to discern, is he having a heart attack? Is he yelling? Is he still alive? And then obviously he was, and we heard his wail, and that really gave away what was going on with him.
Kyle, it's nice to hear that you have a personal tie to moments in here and to the characters and certain experiences they go through, because I think that's what makes films so special a lot of the time. And I think that's why we have certain favorites, right? Because of that, because we are able to somehow see ourselves in these moments, no matter how happy or sad they are. Yeah. So it's nice to hear that you feel that way about this one. And that explains why you're so passionate about it as well, because I know I get frustrated when people, trash signs, when they thankfully rarely do, because I've felt like I've been able to tie my life to a lot of the moments in that, which, as you mentioned in text, we need to talk about sometime. Signs.
Yeah. Mine's like a 2.5 out of best.
Oh, you're going to get, man.
No, I'm kidding.
He's just trolling.
He's a troll, bro. He's a troll.
I've been meaning to see it.
On Thursday.
Wait, you haven't seen it?
I've not seen Signs.
That'll be fun.
I imagine it's great. Yeah,
we'll do that in a few weeks. We'll do that soon. Next Tuesday, we're talking with World War Joe about Kingdom of Heaven. So that'll be fun.
Which
But
cut?
I don't know. I'm not
They
sure.
say
Probably
the director's cut is the best.
Yeah.
And they do expand some things, particularly with Edward Norton's character, that I think makes it a lot better. So, yeah, I'd recommend that.
We might watch that one.
Which
then.
kind
I've
of
seen the
parallels a
original.
little bit back to Coda and Godfather Part 3. So somebody, I'm gonna give him credit. Actually, I'm gonna shout out to him because if I did this, I would want someone to do the same.
Real quick, before you do that, I liked what Sly Jester did here. So, Wilkie just entered the stream, friend of the channel, had a great interview with him. If you'd like to listen to that, check out his channel. That was a lot of fun talking with Wilkie about physical media and other fun stuff. Real chill, fun guy. And I like that we were talking about John Wilkes Booth, and Sly Jester goes, John Wilkie's movies and music booth. Nice.
I saw that.
That's something I would say, so I appreciate that, Sly Jester. All right, Kyle, you got it?
Yeah, so there's a gentleman that follows me on IG, and his name is Chris Hayes, and Chris Reyes, apologies. He made me aware that there's actually a third cut of this movie that came out a year after the theatrical cut came out. There is a final director's cut that came out in 91 on Laserdisc, and I believe it carried over all the way into a 4K set, and it's an option to watch it. Apparently there is additional footage on top of the theatrical.
Are you talking about Kingdom of Heaven or Godfather 3?
No, I'm talking about Godfather 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Additional
There is a third cut that I didn't even know about until he mentioned it, and I looked it up, and then I didn't even know about this. So I'm curious to see the differences, which means that I'm not even fully familiar with the entirety of,
So you have to get that on Laserdisc?
Yeah, you're going to have to get a Laserdisc player.
No, it may be on
disc
4K.
itself.
I may just have to seek out a physical copy of a 4K, yada yada. But we'll see. But I want
to have to hunt for the old tech. I think that'd be fun.
Right, that'd be fun. Then I have to get the whole. I remember Laserdisc. I remember going over to my sister's house and they played The Lion King. The thing was huge, this huge of a disc. I thought it was a record, or they were gonna We're gonna listen to the soundtrack.
Nope.
Yeah, no. So I want to be familiar with all versions of this movie because this is the thing that makes me. I'm like, it feels, when you're dating somebody and you're really liking them, and as you get to know them more and more, you start to fall in love. That's what it feels like with Godfather 3.
Wow.
Like I'm in the middle of dating the movie. I'm listening to people talk about it. I'm listening to interviews with Francis Ford Coppola talk about it, listening to the commentary. It's that type of situation. There's some movies, it's rare, but some movies where it's this ongoing affair, cinematic affair with a movie where I want to know more about it. I want to be more enveloped with it. And for some reason, I know a few of the reasons, and you'll see in my video now available for you to enjoy on my channel. There are personal parallels in regards to how the ending plays out and what Michael goes through, but also in the way of hope. There's a ray of hope in the character arc with him wanting redemption. All of us want that. And he's also a character that is turning his back on these decisions that he made in the past. And that is a ray of hope within the darkness. And I said from the very first video that I did with Ben on Godfather 1, I explained to him, I said, I'm not as interested in this movie because there really isn't a proxy of good in this movie. And I want to see a movie that has dynamism to it, right? Doesn't have to be all black and white,
Right.
The guy's totally good and one guy, the opposite antagonist, is totally bad. You can have some gray and overlap there. And we do with Godfather 3. Michael is not all good. He does make decisions that, he's still sending Callow, his former bodyguard. This is something that I mentioned that we would get into. The guy who stabs the chairman of Immobiliare in the seat.
Oh, he sent him.
Kahlo's friend and Michael's friend, Tomasino, the older man who was assassinated in the road by the assassin who was dressed up as a priest.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was a friend of Kahlo and Michael. Now, the stupid thing that Tomasino did was he just blabbered his mouth and said, "Oh, I know who you are. I know what's going on," and then he gets himself killed for doing that, which harkens back to the line of "Never say what you're thinking. Don't tell anyone what you're thinking."
Yeah,
he violated that rule. So, Kahlo is one of the good bodyguards from the first film when Michael was in Sicily. This is the same actor that portrayed that bodyguard, and he came back for this movie, and he plays a pivotal role where he goes to assassinate the chairman of Immobiliare. He whispers in his ear a line, and I think I have it. "Power wears out those who don't have it," he tells him. He whispers in his ear, and then he fucking stabs him with his glasses. He takes them off. Badass. He probably dies after that. We don't see that happen. I don't recall that happening. Yeah, but he doesn't care. He's doing it out of loyalty for Michael, but also his friend, Tomasino, who got killed. You know?
So you think Michael sent him still?
I think they were both on the same page. Now, remember, Kahlo came into the kitchen in Sicily and interrupted the conversation between Michael and Kay, which is another fantastic scene in this movie, where Kay and Michael are talking about their past history, and Michael's trying to, heal their relationship a bit.
Huh.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful scene. Huh. There's some comedy in that, too. He pretends that, "I'll stab myself with a knife."
Oh, yeah, that was weird. That was
it's fantastic. I love the dark humor. Again, it's the same. It's the same line as what Vito did when he's being a goofball with his grandson. He developed that sense of humor, dude. This is not inconsistent with the especially the first film.
That's true.
These are bookends. This is consistent, and I don't know why people understand that. You will literally see me make that gesture in my video like 5 times. Where I was like, I don't understand why people don't like this movie. I'm still saying it.
Well, I bet that's annoying if it's like one of your favorites too, and see people massacre it all the time. Gosh.
The title of my video is declarative. It's bigger or more definitive because I didn't have a lot of room to give the nuance to it. The title is the best or the most underrated movie of the 1990s. I think it's one of the most underrated movies of the 1990s because of how much hate it fucking gets to this day. So you got to understand the context of what I mean.
Sure. Yeah, we gotcha. How did you guys, because we're all, thankfully, it seems like we're all pretty inspired by Michael Corleone's conversion. How did you feel about that whole segment, watching that unfold, like post conversation with Lamberto? Gen X Man, do you want to go first? Because I remember you telling me earlier that that was like a pretty exciting scene for you.
I'm sorry, which one was that?
You remember in the scene where
it's
Michael,
in the courtyard.
Yeah, Michael's talking with Lamberto and he gives him the confession. Remember that?
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, what was interesting about that as a practicing Catholic is we'd heard a lot from that other archbishop, whatever his title or designation was, that was in charge of the finances or the Vatican Bank, and he was obviously a weasel. And then we encountered this other fella who I would say was a real Christian. And I really liked his illustration that he used with the rock, that all these people here are like rocks, and like water doesn't penetrate the rock. Christ hadn't penetrated the souls of many of these men. There weren't that many in, I guess, the Vatican or in the area that they were living, that conversion had occurred. So I thought, oh, okay, this guy's, he's the real deal. And then he coaxes Michael Corleone into confessing, and it was really masterful, because it was sort of like Corleone didn't want to do it, but once he did it, it was like a dam breaking, in his soul. And really, that was the death of Michael Corleone, in my opinion. That's what they meant by that. The title at the beginning of the movie. I think that's where it occurred, because he was. Well, we'll say that old Michael was dying up until that point, but then I would say, he really turned a corner as a result of that encounter with that Umberto guy, whatever his name was.
I like that. That's a great perspective, Gen X man. I think, all the way up to this point, we were getting some, pretty negative representation of, the Vatican and Catholics. And that was, of course, they always do that and everything. But to see someone that was like true to it and was, an inspiring voice, that was great. And seeing him, confront him in that fashion and offer just guidance, just truth. I mean, just being honest. And, he obviously didn't have any underhand dealings. He didn't want any extra money. And it was especially rewarding when you saw that he was, elected into the papacy to be the Pope. And that, I remember you telling me earlier that you were, pretty excited when that happened as well, because that was like, oh, great, good for this guy. And that's why it was especially so painful to see what happens to him, where, the one decent guy that we've seen on that side, he unfortunately became, he died, and that was because of just how evil the situation was with several of the other parties involved. So interesting. And I also agree with you. I thought I had the same take. That's when he died, was at that point, because except from what Kyle mentioned, which maybe is true, where he sent that guy to kill the other older dude that was a problem, that could maybe conflict with that idea. But that didn't hit me, and I didn't see that myself when I watched it. So with that impression, I agree with you. Kyle, what would you consider the death of Michael Corleone to be? Do you think it was when his daughter died, or do you think maybe more like what Gen X Man said?
Well, it's right after his daughter died. You're seeing the moment of him wailing to the heavens. That's part of his spirit and soul being departed from him.
Yeah. I
you see a husk of a man, whatever, 30 years or so, when we flash forward ahead, and he's sitting alone in Sicily in a backyard estate, and he's very weary. Yeah.
Megan the Texan said that's where I got that from, that his spirit died. It made me realize, that sums it up for me. When he, dies, he's crushed. And not just that, but everything that's happened to him in the past. I mean, that was just his wit's end right there. He tapped out. And
that's interesting. I think both of those ideas can be applied here, and I don't think they necessarily conflict with each other. But I think most people will probably agree with you, Kyle and Luke, that that's the interpretation that he was going for. But I could see both, and that's pretty interesting. I like multi-layers. There's a lot of layers to this onion. There's no doubt in that. So I guess, the big question to kind of, send us home here is, was Godfather 3 a satisfying conclusion to the trilogy?
Yes.
Given the context and the chatter that I've heard throughout my life about this movie sucking, and I made a video during 2020 called Second Chances for Filmmakers, or just second chance filmmakers. And it was just an exploration on director's cuts, unrated versions, yada yada, that had started in the early 2000s, and then all the way up to, at that time, to 2020. And I make a reference to Coppola doing a recut, and it had not yet come out yet. It was going to be Coda for Godfather Part 3. And I just put a clip in of that, one of the assassins doing the donkey impression, thinking that, oh, this is probably one of those scenes, because it looks ridiculous, of him doing the right, and so I thought that surely Coppola is going to cut that scene. You know, it looks silly. So and in my voiceover, I say after the clip is done, I said even the greats need some second chances sometimes, and it was implied. I didn't directly state anything about Godfather Part 2 or Part 3 being bad because I hadn't seen it, and that's a value that I have. I don't make conclusions about movies that I haven't seen, even if I've seen a trailer, yada yada. I can speculate, yada yada. Okay, this doesn't look good. It seems like it could be bad, blah blah blah. So, but I definitely take that back. It's not a bad film. It's a good film, and it's an underrated film. It's one of the most underrated films in the 1990s. Even though it was nominated for Best Picture, that didn't matter to people. It almost seemed like a formality, and I don't think that's the case. I think the film it's a really good film. I think it, and I state in my video, and I'll state again, that it's my favorite of the Godfather trilogy.
Great conclusion.
Gen X man, what are your thoughts? Do you think this was a satisfying conclusion?
Yeah, satisfying enough. I'm a little bit struck by what Kyle just said, that was his favorite of the three. I don't know if I would agree with that fully, but that's fine. I mean, it's better to hold it in high regard than to hate it.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not a loser film like Star Wars Episode 9 was, where, it should never have occurred. It should never have been made. Something. There was a split in our timeline when that movie came out. That's for sure. Yeah, we're not in the same reality we once were, but I don't think reality split with Godfather 3 the way it did with Star Wars Episode 9. So I think it's a good conclusion.
I just want to interject with this to add to it. The last film that won Best Picture was a movie called Anora. I saw that film based off of recommendation, and it wasn't you, Brawler.
It definitely wasn't me.
Wasn't you. Did you see the film, by the way?
No.
Yeah, you shouldn't see the film.
Yeah, I don't plan on it. Yeah,
you're too young.
Yeah,
that movie is a piece of shit, and it's the worst movie to ever win a Best Picture.
Everyone's glazing it up.
It's extremely embarrassing that happened. Extremely. It degraded the value of the Oscars.
We're in tough times, Kyle.
Yes, and so for people to throw accolades and praises at that film with these ugly, annoying, loud characters with this simplistic story that it would have been like a movie that some trash movie that you would see that someone threw on a streaming platform. For them to uphold that and put it to Best Picture compared to the whole host of other films, the greats of the past, and then to compare Godfather 3 that didn't win Best Picture.
Yeah.
And see that Anora did?
It's a disappointment.
Did you see it, Luke?
No, I've not seen it, but
okay,
I can imagine.
I'm telling you, if you saw the film, if you saw Anora just for point purposes, to make a point and to follow my point into this, you would be infuriated, I think. It's the same as I am.
Yeah, standards are like ultra low now. It's sad. And there's just
it's just an ugly film. It's just like with ugly characters and stupid characters, I might add. Like they infuriate you.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around. Jeez. Yeah, especially from like young characters that they're trying to, bring into the limelight. Hence why I don't like Mickey Madison. Nope. I haven't liked her in anything I've seen her in.
I liked her when she got flamethrowed.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you.
That was fun.
She gets killed by a flamethrower or just flames in general in both Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Scream 5.
It was enjoyable.
Here, let's get to the chat real quick before we finish up, everybody. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Sly Jester. That is a perfect note for me to pass on. Have a good night, everyone. See you, Sly. Good seeing you, man. Brock's file. Huh? Laserdisc players. or laser
dicks players.
Whoa.
My bad,
Dude,
Look. If you want to go see a Nora, I get it. Okay,
I believe it. Yeah, Project File. Let's restart. Huh? Laser disc players aren't all that expensive. Good to know. There are some rare pieces of physical media I've only found in that format. That'd be cool to watch something on that.
yeah. There's some editions that only exist on Laserdisc. Special editions.
Dang it, Luke. Now you got me yawning. I
was
saw you, Luke.
I was trying to yawn
I saw.
out of shot, but apparently I have to move my head.
Are we that boring to you, Luke?
No,
Are we
I
that
just had
boring?
it's
It's
late.
late. It's late our time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, isn't
gosh.
it the next day for you guys?
Yeah, it's 12:15. Yeah,
It's
Oh,
the next
my
day.
God,
It's
right.
tomorrow.
been up since
We're-
5 a.m.
Okay.
We're farther than you are. Megan the Texan. Ben would be upset with your review on Nora. LOL. Oh.
No, and Ben understands.
And finally,
Ben was the
your friend that you've been
he
talking
liked
to.
it. He
Oh,
he liked it, Nora, and that is
that he
a kid. We've butted heads about that movie respectfully,
Nice.
but we definitely
Laser
butted
dick.
heads.
Yep. Rachel Pierce CR to conclude. LOL. Laser dick? No thanks.
Maybe we
All
could all
right.
pitch in and get Kyle a laser disc player.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know,
15 each.
You might need it.
I
If you don't
wonder
think
if
I won't.
a laser disc player can the connections would work with a projector, like a modern projector.
That'd
You
be
That's what I
cool.
got.
Random question: do you stream in your backyard, like when you do the fire? You do live streams back there?
Do I stream?
Yeah.
Oh,
live
like
stream.
live? Could I live stream?
Yeah.
That's a good question, man.
If you don't
actually.
think I won't walk into shot with a laser disc, if you don't think I'll go above and beyond and walk into shot with a brand new laser disc for you
Wow.
and bring one to you,
That'd be nice.
you're wrong.
Dude,
I would
that
do
wouldn't be
that.
a live stream. That would just have to be a video on its own.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
fantastic. I mean, nice little trip to Texas. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I know. I was
You
thinking
guys
when
are
we were
always
watching
welcome,
this.
by the way.
I was thinking
Yeah.
when we were watching this, I was like, man, why couldn't Kyle watch this with us? That would have been fun. We had
Yeah,
lots of pizza, Kyle.
Yeah, we
4
should've done
large
that for,
pizzas.
How do you your metabolisms?
Well, it's not just us. There was like
You still have teenager
of us.
metabolisms. You're just eating pizza all night.
most of the guys. Geez, man, they just shovel like 5 slices. I don't know how they do it. I don't even
Yeah.
eat that much, and I'm bigger than a lot of these dudes.
It's the running, man.
Yeah, good for you. So healthy. All right, guys. Well, I think that's pretty much it for us. Thank you all for joining us. We had a great time talking with you. And be sure to check out everyone's channels here. Gen X Man, Gally Ardo, and Kyle Corwith. Check out his video on Godfather Part 3. He goes even deeper. We're deep, and he's going deeper.
It does. It does go deeper, and there's an aspect that which we didn't talk about, but you slightly touched on about them delving into criticism about the Catholic Church, and I get into that a little bit deeper, and that's an aspect that I appreciate about the film. But that the video right now is available, and I would really like some help to push it a little bit through the algorithm, because most of the videos that I do for Fireside Chats Impromptu View, they only get just a couple hundred videos and or a couple hundred views, and I'm trying to push it through beyond that. And with your help, that can happen.
It's hard to scale that. Jeez, you're telling me. It's rough, but I don't care. We have fun. We appreciate all you for watching, no matter what. And be sure to check out Kyle's video. And if you enjoy what we had to say today, please make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share with anybody that's interested in learning about Godfather 3. Because here's four dudes that have positive things to say about that, and you can't say that every day. So thank you all for watching. We appreciate you, and